Uh, so I will be
Thank
able
you.
to share the recording after with everyone who was interested in and registered, because I know that some people were reaching out after for asking for the recording as well. So I will share with everyone. Right. So we can start.
Well, thank you. Welcome everyone to the next episode and the second episode actually for Lead and Thrive. I am Qusay and with me Yulia. I we are excited to continue this journey with you as we explore the essential components of emotional intelligence. In our first episode, we introduced emotional intelligence and we discussed how to play a crucial role in relationships, leadership, personal development, and so on. A quick introduction again for those who don't know me. My name is Qusay Hamouda. I am a leadership trainer and coach. And with me is Yulia. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Kusai. My name is Julia. I'm ACF accredited leadership development coach, working with individuals and corporates and developing the leadership through the lens of emotional intelligence. Same as Kusai, we are both certified in assessing the emotional intelligence competencies using the tool EQI 2.0.
Thank you. So, today we will be taking you into another journey on the emotional intelligence. And in our first episode, as we said, we discussed about the component of emotional intelligence, the framework. So we will go again and we do a quick recap. Then we will dive deeper into the self-perception component, which is self-regard, self-actualization, and emotional self-awareness. This will be a very hopefully interactive session between you and your check-ins and your input. It will help us to even work on what's next. So why this topic? Um, you know, it's about whenever you already act and react in emotions in situations, and then you feel how things getting triggered and why are you acting in a way you are acting. For now, I will leave you with Yulia, where she's gonna do this amazing pool check-in. Yulia, it's you.
Thank you. It's interesting while we are doing the recap, also to um, get an understanding also and to hear from you when you think about emotional intelligence, how does it look like as an object, if it were an object? If you can use any type of emojis, so what would it be? If you can share with the chat and let's see what kind of like associations come with emotional intelligence. I would say like I
Interesting.
would give a heart, for example. Like it comes something associated with me, like something you feel when I think of the object. I think like the happy emoji could be like confetti. How about you, Kusai? Like if you were picking emoji, what would it be?
For emotional intelligence, I might pick the celebration balloons and stars when it connect all together. Uh, just came to mind. An emoji with a smiley that can work. And some situations can be the opposite, which is the angry emoji.
Angry. Okay, I'm not hearing crying. So drop in the chat. Yeah. Drop in the chat any emojis that you associate with emotional intelligence. Just to tell there is no right or wrong question over here or answer.
Uh, if you think about emotional intelligence or emotions in general, what would be, as you said, the first emoji? I can see I have put the emoji with star eyes.
Yeah, something exciting, like excitement, it comes across. Let's see a couple of
Very
more
nice.
answers, like someone more inputs. Oh, so Noof highlighted the star. Wow, that's cool interaction. Rah
علاء is stress.
stress. Yeah, all of that is absolutely right and valid. So, um,
So basically, if we want to recap quickly and say what is emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence, we say it's a set of emotions that for us to see how we define them, how we work on them, how we take this composite and take it further on, reacting based on what we're doing. So it's about what do we do, how can we do it, and when we do it. So being aware of our emotions, how can we manage them? When can we manage them? And can we lead ourselves and even others more effectively when we already identify these emotions? And we talked about, different, areas, and we talked about, the how we perceive and express ourselves, cope with the challenges. It's about developing and maintaining social relationship and so on. Today, we will be even taking this further to see one of the components and how it works. Now, why does it matter, Julia?
So, as you mentioned, those understanding and realizing our emotions and it helps us to get more informed decisions, being more leading selves effectively rather than being reactive. And think about all type of situations you are in when you start the day, when you end the day, and where you are. So it helps you, first of all, to have better relationships with close relationships at work, with your colleagues, with family, with friends, with your partner. Second, one of the major impacts as well, it will be the workplace. And it will elevate the performance, the effectiveness of people at work when they are aware and able to develop the strategies and skills to use those emotions to be more effective at work. And as well as it is related to the decision making, because we make decisions every day, like what do I eat, what I don't eat, shall I go, shall I not, shall I leave, shall I stay, and lots of decisions we make at work. So especially when emotions are involved, uh, uh, working on the skills of emotional intelligence show that it significantly improves effective decision making, again, at work and in life. Yeah, at home.
Very well. So basically, the component that we are discussing today is the EQI 2.0 that is being developed by MHS, which is Monthly Health System institution in Canada. And quickly, if we need to recap about the five components, we talked about self-perception, self-expression, interpersonal, decision-making, and stress management. And we said that these five components are already connected. As you say, it's where it starts as well. So, defining the emotional intelligence start with self-perception, and then it's about how we express ourselves. When we express ourselves, there is a relationship start, which is a dialogue. Maybe this is when the interpersonal came, as a component. And then when we are in a dialogue with others, then decisions need to be made. And when we want to do or to make decisions, then definitely some amount of stress might come in. And these components, when it work together and it is well balanced, the emotional intelligence come in. And as we see, there is the outer silver circle, which talks about the impacts of the emotional intelligence. So there are three areas it impacts immediately when we are working around our emotional intelligence. So basically, we have the social responsibilities, we have the well-being, so our well-being, and definitely then it's our performance, either at work or at home, and so on. So these are quickly how the components that we discussed earlier last time. Today, we will be digging more deep into the self-perception, and this is the start of the components. We will go and talk about the three or four, the three, sorry, subscales under the self-perception. Starting with self-regard. And Julia, would like to tell us about self-regard.
Yeah, this is the topic I especially specifically study and doing research in the past couple of weeks even more. Because self-regard, first of all, I'll start with the definition. It is the ability to respect yourself and accept yourself as one package, regardless of your weaknesses and strengths, like knowing and realizing what are your strengths, what are you good at, what do you know, what you don't know, and be good at with it, and accepting yourself as the respecting yourself also as the whole package. So there is a definition of high self-regard and low self-regard, and we will go into that, but also the components of self-regard and how it impacts how you feel about yourself is also involves the self-esteem. And the self-esteem may shake if the self-regard is low, as well as it impacts the confidence and the self-worth. And we will get into the more components of the self-regard just in a bit. So people with a healthy level of self-regard, they have a healthy level of self-esteem, and they are comfortable with who they are, knowing the strengths and weaknesses, and they view themselves realistically. So they are not rely on external validation, and they are also open to self-improvement. So it is interconnected with self-actualization, which Kusai will talk after that in a bit. So looking at the balanced self-regard, first of all, we like to call it balanced, because there is like high, maybe too high. So we will call it like balanced self-regard. Is when you are accepting self and as you are. So you don't need to be perfect or prove yourself to someone. You have a healthy sense of confidence, realistic, and it's not shaking. And you feel a good sense of self-worth. You are resilient when you receive the criticism. So when someone is giving you the feedback, so you don't take it too negatively, or you are not too sensitive to the criticism, but you take it as a feedback, as an opportunity, maybe for self-improvement. But it doesn't crush your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. And additionally, when your self-regard is balanced, so you have the internal motivation, so you don't rely on external validation, rewards, again, to gain someone trust and someone to acknowledge who you are and what you're worth. So you have a good and stable sense of self-worth, confidence, and self-respect as well. However, like one highlight about the high, when I mentioned like when self-regard is too high, it could signify like the level of unhealthy level of narcissism, because the level of self-esteem may be too high. Or usually in narcissism, like the self-esteem is quite shaky and might be sensitive to the criticism. So equally, like low self-regard and too high self-regard maybe equally be signifying in different types of behavior. So that is why we are talking about the balanced level of self-regard, to have a healthy self-esteem, which also impacts your self-worth, and also how you act and perceive your personal life and professional life. what are the signs of low self-regard? First of all, it will be the self-doubt. Remember, it's the one of the elements is also the self-worth, and self-esteem might shake. For example, when we have the rejection, it may impact how we perceive ourselves and feeling like, okay, maybe we are not doing great, maybe we are not good enough. And this is where we will question about, or am I a good professional? Am I a good partner, actually? And it may impact the decisions we may be hesitant about. Should I apply for this job, or should I come and talk to this person and introduce myself? Yeah. The next sign of the low self-regard could be that oversensitivity to criticism. So when someone is giving you the feedback, you might be defensive reaction, or you might be so sad about yourself, and again, it will create the self-doubt. Lack of self-compassion, so you will be criticizing yourself harshly about the mistake, what you could do better. When you fail, maybe you're like not good enough, or like especially during the failure or something didn't go as a plan, you could be really your best critique as well. And inconsistent self-esteem, as I talked previously. So the self-worth may depend and being influenced by whether or not we are accepted in the society, whether someone is giving us the reward or the compliment us. There is a theory behind the self-esteem, and self-esteem is the meter of the how we are doing socially. It means that if someone is accepting us and giving us compliments and saying, oh, you're so good, you're looking great, or you're such a great professional, you did a great job with the report, we are saying, oh, we are doing great professionally, and then our self-esteem is going high. And the same way, when someone is rejecting us, let's say like a boyfriend or a girlfriend breaks up with us, then we feel so bad about ourselves. It means that our self-esteem, the level of self-esteem may go down, because we think that we are not doing great socially. So it usually comes the shaky self-esteem or lack of understanding, or there is a gap of understanding who we are and who we want to be. And the larger this gap is, then the shaky self-esteem will be. So that is why the self-awareness and self-regard, understanding self, when it is like in a balance and a healthy level, then our self-esteem is also unshakable. So regardless of someone is rejecting or accepting us, our self-esteem is stable. Okay. And now we are going to check in about how is your self-regard. Here is the first question for you. So about in personal relationship, how it could be the not only close relationship with a partner, but also your family members, your friends, and the friends. So how well do you set the boundaries? Maybe drop in the chat. Mm.
Absolutely right. So, it's about how setting boundaries between our, the relationships that we have, either it's at work, uh, with colleagues, or even friendship, or even, relationship closely. Maybe if we're looking at, personal only, as you said, it's very important to look into it. So we would like to hear from you. What do you have as a reflection on that?
Yeah. Well
How
said.
well do you set it?
Yeah. And it comes from understanding self. For example, I can give you the personal example as well. And previously, because I didn't know what I like, what I don't like. So when I was with my friends, maybe I couldn't actually have or set any boundaries. Please don't do it, or this is how it makes me feel, because I didn't know where my boundaries are. So we have a couple of responses. Noof says, career-wise, excellent. Social environment, excellent. Family, horrible. It's interesting. So there is a difference between the closer the relationships, maybe, then it's more challenging to set the boundaries. I wonder or what makes this difference. Rahaf says, I think once you have self-awareness is the first step, then it's about communication and to be brave, to be authentic. Yeah, but yeah, it is. And we are going to speak the next
Absolutely.
episode about self-expression. Sorry for ruining this advice. Right. Let's go to
Very,
the
very
next
nice.
one.
Yeah.
Professional setting. How confident do you feel to ask for a pay raise? I know you like also Noof says easily. Yeah. I was wondering, like, was it always like that? Because I remember when I started my career, I wasn't sure, like, about my abilities, what are my strengths and talents and capabilities. So I was, when I was going to interviews, and there was a question like, so what are your salary expectations? And I was always asking for less than I actually wanted. So, but now when I feel like, okay, I know my strengths, I know what I don't know, but I know my worth and I feel confident and realistically. Yeah. Yeah, no, please unmute yourself. That would be amazing.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure meeting you, and I think it's a pleasure meeting Mr. Wissam. Um, when it comes to the pay raise area, it's not about acknowledging what your self-worth is, but
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging what input you have kept or what type of investments that you have kept in yourself. That means when it comes to education, discipline, understanding your self-worth in
Mm-hmm.
these areas, this can actually help you understand or set a small benchmark for you to know what you deserve and what you don't deserve. When it comes to emotional intelligence, as you said, unfortunately, a lot of us will ask for way less than what we deserve. And when you ask uh, for a number and it's negotiable, a lot of companies would rather be terrified of your numbers because they would say, oh, any person that would ask for what they deserve should not be employed in an entity. And this is something that I don't believe in as a person.
Thank you.
Absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing in. Actually, I can relate to some of the clients that I've been working with, and absolutely right. The first thing they can step in and say, well, the only thing that is making me fear asking for more, either it's a raise or sometime, someone is offering a service, and then it can happen with the clients. So and I always say it's about the time when you are already aware of what's the added value you're offering. Basically, either you as an individual or you as a service provider, that's the time when you can go and ask for what is right. And that's by starting with your self-perception. So, how confident are you, and how your self-regard is your self-perception to what you are adding as a value on the table.
Exactly. Realizing and believing yourself realistically. Absolutely. I was just thinking, what's the correlation between the salary in the market as of today and emotional intelligence? So that could be the something to reflect on. Rahaf was also saying it's also about establishing your value. So when you are able to gather evidence on how much you bring to the table. Absolutely. And that is one of the strategies that we can apply. By the way, Rahaf, this is a brilliant point, that start gathering those evidences in order to, to remind yourself about you are actually great. Yeah. And the last one about the self-esteem. How well do you know what makes you you?
Very
That's
nice question.
yeah. Allah says, I don't ask for pay raise if I see that I deserve more. I would say that I'm look for a new job. If you want me to stay, you need to offer a good deal. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice strategy as well.
Looking. Uh-huh.
Very nice. So how do you know what makes you you? How well do you know? It's an interesting question because, you know, um, this will really give you the self-perception. If you would be able to, just go and see yourself from other people's eyes, how do you see yourself? Like, what make you you? What differentiates you from other people? What's your Absolutely right. Nof said personality, and I think this is the most important thing, and as well the feedback that you get from people. Thank you, Rahaf. Um, but as well, what else? Like if you step out, if we have this ability to just step out and look at ourselves and see how we perceive ourselves. So that, how is this person you look in the mirror differentiates from others, right?
Rahafa also adds your values, experiences, backgrounds. Absolutely. So all of these combinations we put together. This is the makes us, and that would be maybe a further point to reflect on. Well, what are your values? What kind of experiences makes you you? And what's the background? It's and how well you can understand and remind to yourself about that. And interesting topic. That's also I'm passionate about the values. Um, Rahaf says a lot of trial and error over the years and learning about yourself. Yeah, and I sense that. Yeah, the Vitile. Oh, yeah. We found a common topic, Rahab. We should connect further after this to have a chat more about that. I feel like it's a lifelong learning about self and rediscovering, which I'm passionate about. Like I can't stop talking about it. Right. So let's move then further to the self-actualization and passing on the mic to Kusai, to you.
Yeah, so basically, self-actualization is the second sub skill of the self-perception, and self-actualization is it's about the ongoing pursuit of personal growth, fulfillment, and living in alignment with your values and potential. So it's reflect on the personal ability to set meaningful goals, continuously develop yourself, and find a sense of purpose in both your personal and professional life. It's not about reaching a final destination, but rather of the commitment to lifelong learning, self-improvement, and maximizing the potential, which is very important. In self-actualization, it's about feel the fulfillment and driven as well by your personal and professional growth. It's about how as well you inspire others with your passion and purpose. So it's about this edge of always wanting more, and we will see it now in a setting of the balanced or high self actualization. In usually in these when we look into situations where the self-actualization is already high, this is the time when we see purpose. We see someone who's purpose driven. We see growth. They are the growth oriented. They have an autonomy, the autonomy. Sorry, and authenticity. They they are in their peak performance, and as well the creativity innovation peak at this time. So people already know what they want. They are already on the journey of development. They know exactly what are the areas they want to work around. What else? This is where the drive for them becomes very important. Whereas in the low self actualization, we see people with lack of purpose, stagnation, avoidance of personal growth. and feeling of unfulfillment. They are disconnected. They don't want to pursue more. Usually, I see people in the situation when we work with clients. They're bored in where they are. They want to. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what's next. They are not aware of the areas that they need to develop, and even if they are, they don't know what's next, which is it can be a very gray area for them to be at. Now, if I want to put this in self-actualization check-ins, and just to look at it in the personal and professional setting and see how we did exactly what we did a few minutes ago. So if we're looking at this, how would your relationship, either friendship, family, or partner, support your personal growth? Do you think about it? How would that support your personal growth? The relationship you are in, the relationship with your family, friends around you. I always hear and I believe in that you are the average of the most people you spend time with. They say the most five people around you, they are the one who maybe shape as well who you are and how you pursue yourself and how you develop yourself. So if you can tell us quickly in the chat, how do you see that these relationships support your personal growth? Close relationship challenge you? Yes, of course. Because they have their journey, you have your journey, and then it's about, is it supporting your personal growth? Is it something that add, and it's the other way around as well. Are you supporting their personal growth? So it's have to be both ways, right? Where in a professional setting as well, if we need to put this in the question, how, because they trigger you. Yeah, of course. Absolutely right, Rahaf. And if we need to put this in a professional setting and then think about it as well, it's about how do you pursue your professional growth where you are today? Are you in a place where you are working or maybe studying or professionally, career-wise or academic-wise? Are you in a place where it is supporting your growth? What do you think? Drop us in the chat. Is this the area where you want to be? Is it supporting your professional growth, your career, where you want to be, what you want to do? Sometimes I work with the clients, and I'm sure, Yulia, you can relate as well, where in coaching sessions, we dig deeper to a value where people start to see that what they're doing, even though sometimes I meet with successful people, it doesn't really work with their professional or career growth where they want to be, even though they're good at what they're doing, but that's not what they really want, right?
Yeah, and also when we are looking with clients at their circle, close circle, wider circle, right? So it comes from self-perception, self-realization, self-regard, and then understanding the self and more pursuing the meaningful relationships as well. So with like-minded people, going to communities, aligning your values with people around you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Rama have a very valid point here where it says, family gives you a lot of support. So, some of us are driven by a family, and that actually can affect and support your growth, even your career. Absolutely right. So, reflecting on that, that's where we see how are these relationships, either with our family or friends, supporting the personal growth. Ala or Ala, I'm not sure if I'm reading this right. When you have a supportive friend and family, it will get you closer and faster to the dreams and support. Yes, absolutely right. Ala, well, nice meeting you. So yes, definitely, that's absolutely correct. So it is about how sometimes you can work on that. Now, going to the last point about self-actualization, and then we can jump to the last bits of our webinar today. So basically, high self-actualization as well it's very important to work on it, but as well, too much is too much. So getting to versus perfectionism, right? So I met people where they go around learning everything and they want to be knowing everything they can. Well, there's too much for us to learn, right? So it's very important for us to drive where we want to be and what are the things we want to learn and work and develop ourselves to a point where we are there to how we see ourselves. So this is very important. Now, taking ourselves to the emotional self-awareness, uh, uh, what do you think, Julia? What is the emotional self-awareness? How can we put that for them?
So the emotional self-awareness is self-explanatory from one side, as being aware of emotions, being able to recognize them, but also the interesting thing about realizing the impact, how they impact your thoughts and how they impact the way you act and behave.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, high emotional self-awareness, it allows us to assess the emotions and state correctly, provide it, and understand it. And this is very important. And when we look into people with high self-aware, emotional self, we see that they clear recognition of their emotions. They understand the triggers, which is very important. What does trigger the emotions that I am in, right? And then it's about the insight into emotional pattern. Uh, um, as I said, so clear recognition of emotions, understanding the triggers, and insight into emotional patterns, balanced emotional regulations, which is very important. And of course, high emotional self-awareness as well. It have immediately when it goes very high, it goes to overthinking, and we need to make sure that we don't go into that, right? But
Yeah.
let us think, what if it's low? Tell us, Julia, when it's low, what happened?
So first of all, like I won't be able to understand what I am feeling right now. By the way, even though I have a high self-awareness, but also my brain can be hijacked during the stress, and I might be not being able to recognize like, okay, what am I feeling? So, but also yeah, in this case, like I'm using specific strategies to identify and scanning my body to recognize them. So I have my own strategies. But if I didn't or before, I wouldn't be able to recognize, am I angry or am I actually sad? Am I stressed? Am I down, happy, excited? So was it thrilled, for example? Yeah, so that would be difficult. Also, if you are tired, it happens to Rahaf, she says, not being able to recognize emotions. Yeah, exactly. So it may be influenced. So it's interesting that it takes to one of the point what Rahaf
Yeah.
did. We are confused about what are we feeling, like thirsty or hungry. It's not emotion, but yeah, as an example. Yeah, carry on, Kusai. What else?
Well, it's about as well when you suppress and exaggerate your emotions. It's the difficulty in personal reflections as well. This is what happened when you have a low self, awareness. Emotional self-awareness. As I see, Rama is saying that it's totally true. From my perspective, I am a high emotional person. Overthinking drive me crazy sometimes. Yeah, see, so. So that's last time I think we did have a question about okay, what happens and what do you do when you are into the overthinking. So this is very important, but it is good that you already know what to trigger this, right? So you need to understand what to trigger this overthinking when you are really into the high emotional self-awareness, what to trigger your overthinking and how do you stop this, because this is the most important part, right? Now, if we look into some check-ins, just to take these reflections and put it into, practicals and practicality, I mean. So in personal relationships, we say and we ask, what may impact your mood at home, right? This is something you need to think of. Okay, what may impact your mood at home? Either you are with your family, around friends, anything outside work. So if you can share with us in the chat, and at the same time as well, think about maybe what can impact your mood at work. That's something as well. As Riam said, bad news. Yeah, absolutely. That can be impacting. How would the mood is even at work. Sometime, and I can relate to this. If you don't look into the pattern, how you start from your day, there are a lot of things can come in, meetings, projects, clients, a lot of data happening during their day. So a lot of triggers that can trigger how do you feel. Sometimes you start your day and you think you're having a good day, and suddenly at the end of the day you feel somehow either tired or you're exhausted, and you look, but you don't feel that you've done much. But then when you look at your day, it wasn't your physical activity or things or work you've done. It was just the data you were, and the amount of emotions that you were working with, either from clients who are very challenging or projects. And, so this is something is very important. Being sleepy or didn't sleep, absolutely agree with the lack of that already affect how your mood gets impacted even at. And as well, we need to make sure that we look into how emotional self-awareness is versus the emotional self-regulations. We need to think about this quiet balance, in if it's too high or too low, what happened there, and it is the spot we need to look into. Now, that take us to almost the last part of our session today, and that would be the part of Urara. So, Yulia, can you take us there and tell us more?
Yeah, we have some responses also in the chat before we go into the last bit. I'd like to summarize that it's amazing that we have today people with us with a high self-awareness, because I see the evidence of recognizing those triggers, like Alai saying what impacts the mood, being sleepy or didn't sleep well. Rahab supports like lack of sleep, lack of planning. Rama says that sometimes at home misunderstanding happening. This impacts me at work. Deadlines make me feel that suddenly, and I feel lost when there is a task with a deadline. So we actually understand the triggers. That's amazing. And Imra says that when results are not as expected, so it's also may become as a trigger. So I want to highlight that recognizing also those triggers and
That's
how they
right.
impact how we feel, how we think, how we act is also a sign whether of the self perception in general composite, that it has a high level. Like yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Now as a rep, Rama says, yes, also being a perfectionist at home or at work, that triggers me a lot. Yeah. So the idea is that's absolutely okay that we have like highs and lows. The idea is about thinking about like DJs, they have this soundboarding, is about how those sounds creating music, whether you like the
Mixed
music they
together.
create or no. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we can, if anyone is interested,
yeah,
let us know. We can run the assessment, the QI 2.0, where we can look into deeper into your personal settings of emotional intelligence. But now to wrap up, like
absolutely.
let's choose which one of the scales or skills of the self-perception we explore today, composite. Which one would you like to focus on? Improve your self-regard, or self-actualization, or emotional self-awareness? Which one would you like to focus on?
Yeah, if absolutely. If I may ask you and tell you today, if you would assess yourself from what you learned today with us, where do you self yourself, and which one you think that you would like to work on improving? I see. Emotional self-awareness, self-actualization, improve your self-regard, self-regard. Oh, we have variety today. Very, very nice. Okay. And I think someone draw a line around emotional self-awareness as well. Very well. Very well. So what we would be, we will be taking improving your self-regard. So self-regard as well. Very
Self-regard.
nice. We will be capturing this, and that will be as well reflected into these emails that we sent you.
Yeah, well, we will prepare some exercises. Please let us know if you would like, first of all, to receive some exercises after our session, so we can email the recording
Yes,
and maybe some exercise for, yes, Ala, Rahaf, yeah. And
perfect. Nadia as well shared about emotional self-awareness. All right. Very nice.
cool.
All right.
All right, yeah. We will email you with a link of this recording of our session if you want to recap, share with someone else. We will add also an exercise that you can do yourself yeah, to improve the areas that you highlighted. Additionally, we will forward the previously after the last episode, we shared this quick check-in about your emotional intelligence. And you can run it. It takes like 1 or 2 minutes to answer a couple of questions, and instantly you will receive the score and some actions you can take already to work on your emotional intelligence skills. And
Definitely.
yeah, to end, we are going to host the next webinar on February 25. It's also Tuesday, same time, 8 p.m. We are aiming to make it short and quick. However, for sure, we are happy to spend more time together, and the next episode will be on self-expression.
Absolutely right. And next time I'll make sure that I'm not in the car. um, Ala, Bishara, Iman, Hasina, Irma, Nadia, Rahaf, Rama, Wiam, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for attending today. Yulia, very special thanks to you. And looking forward to see you guys on our next webinar.
Thank you very much, Kusai, for making it today, even regardless of the LEAP event and being Saudi, but you did amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time then.